From a comedian having a racist meltdown while dealing with hecklers at a stand-up show, to Janet Jackson getting blacklisted due to a wardrobe malfunction. These are celebrities who destroyed their careers in seconds. Starting things off with Michael Richards, because he has what might be one of the most controversial times a celebrity has lost his entire career over a single moment. Richards rose to stardom after co-starring as Kramer in Seinfeld back in 1989, making him the face of quirky comedy at the time. So, it was no surprise that when he shifted his focus to stand-up, people were lining up to see Kramer live, hoping to get the same type of content as in the show. However, fans got something much more aggressive in 2006, when the actor had a complete meltdown on stage while dealing with a heckler.
Shut up! 50 years ago they had you upside down with a fork up your ass! You can talk, your brain now, motherfucker! Rolls out, he's a He's a He's a
Oh my god.
All right, you see? It shocks you to see what's buried beneath your stupid motherfucker. What was it called for? It's not called for you to on my ass, you cheap motherfucker!
His racist outburst quickly went viral, with several news outlets covering the story, further spreading the general hatred towards Richards. And after giving a formal apology on the David Letterman show, he still decided to step down from the public eye, basically canceling himself before the media could.
I like you! I'm a very you're threatening me? What's you, son? Oh, it's a big threat. That's how you get back at the man. That was real call for. Wait a minute, he's not going, is he? You're just not funny. That's why you recheck. Never had no show, never had no movie. Seinfeld, that's it. Oh, I guess you got me there. You're absolutely right.
Now, let's move on to Jamie Kennedy, because he was probably one of the most iconic actors during the late 90s and early 2000s, starring in huge films like the Scream saga and even getting his own comedy show called The Jamie Kennedy Experience. So, it came as a surprise when his career came to a complete stop in 2013 after he was invited to host KDOQ's 2012 New Year's Eve show. Things started on the wrong foot, with people on the technical team unknowingly talking over an active microphone with loads of swear words.
Come on, man, don't fucking give me shit, dude. Come on, man, I gotta have my first hit. There's no camera. To work on the show. Should be right here, Roman, right here. Where's our camera guy? It's called Fairly Odd Christmas.
Okay. But it only got worse from there, with multiple technical difficulties and mediocre performances by the invited artists, and finished with a fight on the stage.
There's a fight. It's ending with a fight. It's ending with a fight. Guys, please. God bless it. Get out. Go to a cartoon. Jesse, come.
Since then, Kennedy hasn't been invited to host any other events, and has barely appeared in new movies besides cheesy comedies and unremarkable thrillers. Similarly, rapper DaBaby lost millions of dollars, and possibly his potential success due to a single mistake on stage. Because after blowing up in 2019, DaBaby quickly became a mainstream artist, getting millions of views on his music videos and reaching 1 billion plays on Spotify. 2 years later, he was one of the biggest artists featured during the 2021 Rolling Loud Miami Festival, singing for over 200,000 people who were doing the chorus for his more popular songs. During his performance, he decided to give a rather offensive shout-out to the audience, turning into one of the highlights for the event.
You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them dead with transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if you smell like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas.
Lights up.
Fellas, if you ain't stuck in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the air.
Let's be real about this.
Yeah, keep it real.
This was more than enough to get him in hot water, with reports stating he lost millions of dollars after dozens of his shows were canceled and several sponsors severed ties with him.
And how different would your life be if that moment hadn't happened? About 50, 60 million?
Nah,
100? 100?
For sure. That happened 2 years ago. Man, we got to go up.
What?
I promise you, but it's all good.
Just like with DaBaby, a single sentence was enough to put an end to Jimmy the Greek Snyder's career as a successful sports commentator. Snyder was popular throughout the mid to late 90s, thanks to his contributions to the NFL Today show, with several appearances and multiple predictions on games.
Jimmy the Greek, let me ask you about that injury to Green, which I alluded to. That could make a very big difference against Anthony Carter.
Well, you can say that again and in spades. I know the Redskins are very happy about winning the game, but without Darrell Green to watch Mr. Carter or to return those punts.
But everything came crashing down for him after he mentioned some very out-of-pocket comments about his outdated beliefs about the state of the sport during an interview with WRC-TV.
Pretty soon they're going to have to equalize it for the blacks, for the Greeks, the Jews, and for everybody. I mean, let's make it equal for everybody, you know.
And is it equal? What about in sports?
Well, they've got everything. If they take over coaching like everybody wants them to, there's not going to be anything left for the white people. I mean, all the players are black. I mean, the only thing that the whites control is the coaching jobs. Now, I'm not being derogatory about it, but that's all that's left for.
It's uncertain if this was the true reason why, but shortly after the interview became public, he was fired from the network and wouldn't be able to return to any other sports show. As for Janet Jackson, however, it wasn't her who destroyed her own career, but rather Justin Timberlake. Because while they were performing live at the halftime show for Super Bowl 38, he decided to test the limits while on stage. But Justin didn't expect that Janet's costume would be so fragile, leading to one of the most infamous moments in the history of the Super Bowl. The fiasco led to millions of dollars in losses for all the organizations involved in the event.
It has been now almost 2 years since Janet's Super Bowl halftime performance made news around the world. The FCC received more than 500,000 complaints about that broadcast. CBS was fined $550,000, and then the NFL was asked to refund the $10 million that they had been given to the halftime show sponsor.
And despite both artists giving public apologies right after the controversy, only Janet suffered the consequences, and her career quickly took a turn for the worse.
I think they did put all the emphasis on me, and as opposed to us.
Luckily for her, she still managed to bounce back years later, and was even inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019. On a longer downfall, however, Steven Seagal's appearance in Saturday Night Live has been immortalized for the ages, just not for any of the right reasons. With him being a rising action movie star, it was only a matter of time for him to host SNL, and this was the case in April 1991, with him giving one of the worst performances a host has ever given on the show. According to critics,
caught these two guys with 3 kilos of cocaine. What do you think they were doing with them? Making shark for girls' softball game.
He even went as far as to write one of the scenes used on the show, which went just about as well as you might expect.
And then he enters the banquet room and starts beating, it's live, and he's beating them up and throwing them around the room, and it goes on for like 8 minutes. It's the longest scene you've ever seen. And then at the very end, he turns to camera and says,
"This is what happens when you pollute the planet."
And the audience is mystified.
Instead of pushing his career forward, it seems this was the evidence production companies needed to not hire an actor who can't act very well. Since then, Seagal went from being a mainstream face in films to only appearing in straight-to-TV movies, where he showcased just how corny his acting could be.
Hey, Michael, how are you? Good.
This is Kaba.
On the house, gentlemen.
Thanks.
I don't drink. All right.
Members of the SNL cast who were working at the same time have gone on to talk about he was the worst host they had a chance to work with, saying how he was rude to everyone around him, and how he was a pain to act alongside.
That was his attitude the whole week, was he kept saying, "I've never seen your show. I don't know what you do here." Like, really? You've never seen Saturday Night Live? Where do you live?
Going from SNL hosts to members of the cast, Jenny Slate destroyed her career after breaking the first rule of doing a live show. Don't ever swear when the cameras are rolling. Slate joined the crew in 2009, being one of the most prominent comedians in the season.
Does this happen to you? People go away because you got a bad, boring car horn? Hello, I'm Tina Chanel.
However, she would slip during a sketch alongside SNL veteran Kristen Wiig, getting a bit too carried away with the script and dropping an F-bomb live on the show.
You know what? You freaking just threw an ashtray full of butts at my head. You know what? You stood up for yourself, and I fucking love you for that. You're in my heart, babe.
You can clearly see on her face that she had messed up, and it's safe to say that she didn't come back for the following season. She even struggled to get acting jobs for a few years. Despite getting kicked from SNL, she has managed to come back in full force, appearing in huge films such as Zootopia and A24's Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, marking her return to mainstream entertainment after what seemed like a permanent banishment. And coming full circle, Sinead O'Connor's career came to a complete stop after one performance while being the musical guest on SNL. While some people see being a guest in the show as an opportunity to reach the mainstream media, while others try to use the time on air to make statements. In the case of O'Connor, she used it for the second one, and paid for it with her entire career. While performing a cover of War by Bob Marley, she decided to take a stand and send a public threat against the Catholic Church by ripping up a picture of Pope John Paul II, while looking straight into the camera.
In the victory of good over evil, fight the real enemy.
This marked the end of the singer's mainstream career in the West, as no labels wanted to work with her, and the few times she managed to get on stage after the incident, she was booed off. In the case of Kathie Lee Gifford, however, her downfall came as a result of poor research when talking about sensitive topics. Because back in 2012, as actor Martin Short was on the set of The Today Show to promote the upcoming release of Madagascar 3, he was to be interviewed by Gifford, alongside Hoda Kotb. The interview was going well, with all three talking about the movie, until Gifford mentioned Short's wife, not knowing that she had died 2 years prior, leading to a bittersweet moment for the actor.
He and Nancy have got one of the greatest marriages of anybody in show business. How many years now for you guys?
We married 36 years. Yeah.
But you're still like in love.
Madly in love. Madly in love.
Why?
Despite it not leading to drama on the set, and Short being able to handle it professionally, she still faced a lot of backlash from it, since it was something she obviously should have known before starting. The actor has spoken about the incident on multiple occasions, saying how there was no hard feelings between the two, since it was just due to misinformation on her part.
You have been in the news today for your Today Show interview yesterday. Was that a difficult moment for you?
Well, Kathie is a fabulous, fabulous person, and she really is very sweet, and she just didn't have the information, so she it was tricky, but it was handled, I think, well.
This next guy isn't really a celebrity, but the way he destroyed his career in seconds is so crazy that it was impossible not to include him. I'm talking about you, amateur reporter AJ Clement. Clement was set to start his career by joining the morning team of NBC North Dakota News, but he couldn't even show his skills as a reporter, since the first ever words out of his mouth were enough to get him fired on the first day on the job.
Good evening, I'm Van Tu. You may have seen our newest report, AJ, on NBC.
The clip quickly went viral, and it reached nationwide news. So it might have come as a blessing in disguise when Clement was appearing in talk shows all over the country to tell his story as to why he did what he did, making him a local celebrity.
But I was looking down, I'm going over my script. Van, my co-anchor, happens to be looking at the camera, and she noticed the red light comes on. We actually came on 30 seconds early. I'm going on, London Marathon is my second story, there is literally 3 names I don't know how to pronounce at all.
And speaking of tense moments with celebrities, one actress got barraged by questions about her drug abuse, and a comedian went off on a talk show host for not knowing how famous he was. So click this video to see what happens when